Hello and welcome to another video with your favorite math teacher, Francis. Don't let Miss Griffith tell you otherwise. All right, so today we're coming at you with a new lesson, 12-2, point slope form. So yeah, we're going over the unit that involves slope, and we all love slope. Remember, slope is rate of change, in case some of you guys forgot. All right, so today's learning targets are we need to be able to write the equation of a line in point slope form and use point slope form to solve problems. All right. So I want us to be able to solve this problem. But first of all, before we begin, let's put our attention right here. We'll give you guys a second to copy that down, pause the video. We're going to be going over what's called point slope form. Why is it called point slope form? Because you only need two things to write this equation. You're going to need a point and you're going to need a slope. All right. So the equation reads as follows: y minus y1 is equal to x times quantity x minus x1. Now this is a lot of stuff you guys might have in mind, but basically y1, this is the y value of your given point. So if they give you a graph, you have to look for it. M, if you remember from our lesson in slope, is the variable for the slope of the line, and x1 is the x value of the given point. Pretty straightforward, right? Right. So basically, if you got a point and you have the slope of the line, you can write the equation just like this. And you're gonna use this a lot if you ever end up going to calculus. This is how you end up writing the equation of a line when you tangent lines. But we're not gonna focus on that too much right now since this is not a calculus, it's algebra 1. So let's just move on. We're gonna go on to our first example right here. And our first example says, write an equation of the line. Right? It says, write an equation of the line with a slope of 1/2, and that passes through the point 2, 5, graph the line. All right, so we're gonna focus right now on this part. Write an equation of the line, slope 1/2 and 0.25. Those are the only two things you need. All right. So we're gonna write down over here, what is our slope? Our slope is 1/2, right? Next, we have a point here. This is going to be our x1, and this is going to be y1. Okay? So our x1 is going to equal to 2, and our y1 is going to equal to 5. All right? So what you're going to do is you're just going to plug in these values to this equation up here. All right? And it's pretty straightforward. So y, you keep that y, minus y1, in this case it's 5, is equal to our slope m, in this case it's 1/2, all right? And then times quantity, so we got to keep our brackets. This x, you're going to keep the x, all right? So you're going to write down that x. Oops, sorry about that. You're going to keep our x, and you're going to subtract what? And it's going to be x minus x1, right? You're going to do the minus x1. And what's our x1? That's 2. Bam, and we're done with our equation of a line. All right, the next part is just graph the line. All right, it also says graph the line. And that's pretty simple, all right? All you need to point, all you're gonna do is, with your pencil, you're gonna go to your graph, right? You're gonna find your point. Our point was 2, 5, so it's gonna meet somewhere over here. And our slope was 1/2, so all you gotta do is go up 1 over 2, right? So it should be here. And let me just erase the rest. So this is where our points should be. And you just collect the username and length. And we're done graphing. Bam, pretty straightforward, right? You're geniuses. You're all geniuses. I know you guys can handle this. All right, so the other type of problems you're gonna need to know is how to do this. Determine the slope of a point on the line for following equations. So determine the slope and the point on the line for the equations. All right. So remember, if you look at our point slope form, it's I'm not gonna keep scrolling back and forth, so I'm just gonna rewrite it down right here. Remember, point slope form is y minus y1 is equal to x minus x1. where this is the x value of our point, and this is the y value of our point, and this is our slope. All right, so let's identify our slope. Our slope is always outside the parentheses, right? So this value here is going to be our slope. So our slope here is going to be m is going to be equal to 3/8. And then one thing I want you guys to know is we need to find our x1 and our y1, okay? So the thing is, our equation has a minus sign, right? They have minus signs. So the points, the values here and here, it's gonna be the opposite. So you see how this is -3 for our x value? It's gonna be the opposite of -3. What's the opposite of -3? +3. So our x1 is gonna be 3. And right here we have +4. What's the opposite of +4? -4. So our y1 is actually going to be -4. Okay, and so our slope is 3/8, and our point here is 3, -4. That's not so bad, right? I know, we're all geniuses here. I know, calm down, guys. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing for this one over here. Example 3. All right, so we're gonna identify our slope. Our slope here, remember it's outside the parentheses. It's gonna be this section right here. So our slope's gonna be -5/2. Our x1 is gonna be the number next to the x right here. Oh, you notice how there's a +3? Remember, because our equation has this minus in front, we're gonna take the opposite of +3, so it's gonna be -3. And for y1, we're gonna go right next to where our y is. That's over here, -6. What's the opposite of -6? That's right, +6. So our answer here, our slope is -5/2, and our point is going to be -3, 6. Remember, which number goes first has to be the x value, and the second value here has to be the y value. That's just how points work. If you mix it up, your answer is going to be wrong. All right. So remember, keep that in mind when doing these types of problems. All right. So next up, we're going to go to everybody's favorite types of problems, word problems. And don't worry, we're going to break this down step by step so you know how to do this. And I've already pre-written our steps. But first, before we even look at what our steps are, let's read what the problem is asking, right? So let's look over here. It says, Violet has an internet business selling paint sets. She has an internet business selling paint sets. So Violet is our entrepreneur. She sells paint sets. After initial website fee each week, she makes a profit of 75 cents. A profit of 75 cents for each set, right? For each set she sells. If she sells 8 sets, she makes $2.25. All right. So the first thing is we want to identify a point, you know, and our point is the yellow stuff, the yellow highlighted area. So if you look at all this information, it kind of looks like a lot. And step 1 and step 2 can be interchangeable. But what looks like the dependent variable and what looks like the independent stuff, right? So we need to know how many sets she sells, in order to find out how much money she makes, right? So the number of things she sells, that's going to determine our value. So that's our independent variable. And so that's usually going to be determining our x, okay? So our x here is going to be the sells 8, okay? So our x1 is going to equal to 8. And it's what? 8 sets. And then whenever we sell 8 sets, our output, right? Our input is 8 sets. She's going to make $2.25. So if you were to draw this, if you were going to write this as a point, you have 2 and 2.25. This is our point. And that's ugly. So let me fix that line. All right. We determined that because this has the input and this is the output. And remember from your from when we started functions, we have to have inputs, outputs. All right. Next, we have to identify our rate of change. What is rate of change? That's just another word for slope. Now, something here is gonna tell something that's constant, right? So if something something that's changing, well, or that has like per this. All right, so it says here she makes a profit of 75 cents for each cent. So her rate of change is 75 cents, because if she sells 1 cent, that's 75 cents. If she sells two sets, that's $1.50, right? So it's gonna keep going. It changes depending on how much, right? So our rate of change is gonna be 0.75, and it's gonna be dollars per cent, right? So it's gonna be dollars per cent. All right, so this is our slope here. All right. Now that we have our point and our slope, we could just write the equation. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remember the equation is y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1, where y and y1 is our y value of our point, x is our x value of our point, and m is the slope. So just write it down like you would. So y stays the same minus y1, that's a 2.25, and then we're gonna get equals to our slope, which is 0.75 times quantity x minus x1, which is 8. And that's how we do this problem. Okay, pretty straightforward. And we just have one more example before I can let you guys go. I know, so much work on this in one video. I know there's one of the lengthier ones, but we're almost done, all right? So we have the following situation here. Find the equation in point slope form with a line shown in the graph. So we have this graph, right? And we have 2 points. Honestly, all you gotta do is find a point. All right, for this case, we're gonna use this point right here. This is 2, 2, and we wanna find the slope. This graph is not perfect, but the next intersecting point here is gonna be 4, 7. All right, so how many spaces are we going up? All right, how many spaces are we going up? We're actually gonna, well, let's see. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna go up 5 spaces. All right, and then how many spaces over? 1, 2, over 2. Our rise is 5 over. So if our rise is 5 and our run is 2, our slope is rise over run. That means our slope is 5 over 2. And now this is the cool part about point slope form. You can choose either point you want. It's still going to be the same equation, okay? So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and do that. We're going to use this point, but remember, you can use this point and you still be correct, all right? So what you're going to do is you're going to use y minus y1, and our y1 is 2, so y minus 2. Our slope is 5 over 2, and then times x minus x1, and our x1 here is also 2. And this is the equation of our slope. And that's basically all you need to know in order to be able to do these point slope form equations, right? If you have once again, if you need help with any of these problems, make sure you show up to our Zoom meetings, or message me on Schoology, or just ask a teacher, man. We're here to help you. And yeah, so have a great day, guys. I'm just gonna end the video here.